the ultimate reason the divine breathed life into your lungs. You are no mere accident of fate. Cease your aimless drifting. Permit me to pose a query that the majority of the masses are far too preoccupied to even entertain. For what grand design do you occupy this space and time? I do not refer to the trivialities of why you are viewing this transmission or why you exist as a biological entity. I speak of the profound, everlasting, unshakable justification behind your very formation. Why did the Almighty fashion you? Long before your progenitors cradled you, before the world assigned you a name, before the adversary attempted to brand you, the Creator had already pronounced a decree over your spirit, and that which He spoke was far from arbitrary. It was a mission, a definitive purpose, a vocation woven into the very tapestry of eternity. You were not brought forth merely by the mechanics of biology. You were not conceived simply to settle debts, wrestle with iniquity, curate a digital persona, and hope to scrape into paradise by the narrowest of margins. You were sculpted by the hands of a holy God for a destiny far more magnificent. Yet, here lies the profound tragedy. The vast majority depart this earth having never truly lived. They squander their existence, interrogating the wrong mysteries. Who will offer me affection? Which career path shall I pursue? How might I achieve worldly acclaim? Instead of the solitary question that holds any true weight. God, for what specific intent did you create me? And if you fail to pose that inquiry, you will exist merely chasing shadows, forfeiting the very substance of your soul. You see, this transcends mere purpose. It is a matter of identity. It is about grasping the reality that the architect of the cosmos did not fabricate you by happenstance. He did not cast lots or spin a wheel of fortune. He engineered you with the identical intention with which He designed the stars, with purpose, with precision, with fire. The true reason for your creation is not something you must manufacture. It is something you were born carrying within your depths. And on this day, we shall unearth it, fragment by fragment, truth upon truth. Because once you comprehend the why of your creation, you will cease living like an error and commence living like a miracle. Let us embark. Number 1. Forged for communion, not ritual. Number 1. You were fashioned for intimate relationship, not rigid religion. Before the Decalogue was etched in stone, before the temple rose, before the law, the prophets, the cross, and the ecclesiastical institution, there existed a garden, and there existed a walk. The Almighty did not fashion Adam to construct shrines or memorize statutes. He created Adam to walk alongside him in the cool of the twilight, not to perform, not to strive, but simply to exist in His presence. That is the primal reason you were created. Communion, not merely congregational attendance, not religious theatrics, not an endless endeavor to be good enough, but authentic, unvarnished, raw intimacy. Consider this truth. God, in His absolute perfection and self-sufficiency, had no need of us. Yet, He wanted us. He desired you. The architect of galaxies craved a relationship with you so profoundly. He molded you from the dust with His own fingers, whereas all else was merely spoken into being. You were not merely uttered, you were sculpted. That is profoundly personal. And yet, here is the catastrophe. Many among us have bartered intimacy for institutionalism. We labor under the delusion that executing tasks for God is synonymous with walking with God. We mistake routine for resonance. We tick boxes, offer prayers, read texts, serve, and tithe, yet remain feeling estranged from Him. Why? Because you were never designed to be God's employee. You were designed to be His offspring, and children do not earn affection. They dwell within it. Religion commands, do more. Relationship whispers, draw near. Religion insists, repair yourself before you approach. Relationship declares, you cannot repair yourself, simply approach. If you are weary of the masquerade, if you are drained from chasing validation, if you feel hollow despite executing all the correct actions, then perhaps it is time to cease serving like a bondsman and commence abiding like a son. The Messiah did not perish so you could become a superior rule keeper. He died to rend the veil, to grant you unrestricted access to the very presence of the divine. Not merely once a week, not only when you are flawless, but daily, perpetually, boldly. So, permit me to ask you, in this moment, do you possess a relationship with God, or are you merely acting religiously in His vicinity? Because the true reason He created you is not buried in a church itinerary or a checklist of spiritual disciplines. It is simple, it is sacred, and it has been the truth since Eden. You were created to walk with God, not merely on Sundays, not merely when existence crumbles, but every single day, every breath, every stride. This is the Genesis. Everything else emanates from this singular truth. You were created for communion, not ritual, and He is waiting for you to draw near. Number 2, designed to mirror His likeness. Number 2, you were created to reflect His image. Allow me to impart a truth. The world has attempted to scrub this from your consciousness. You are far from ordinary. You were crafted in the image of the Almighty God. This implies that when God created you, He stamped you with something no other entity in creation bears His likeness. Not the beasts, not the seraphim, only you. Genesis 1:26 declares, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness." You were not made to mirror the culture. You were made to mirror the Christ. But the adversary does not want you to grasp this, because if you truly comprehended who you were designed to reflect, you would cease settling for inferior identities. You would not contort yourself to appease this world. You would not chase affirmation from broken humanity. You would not mimic trends that contradict the truth. You would stand boldly, knowing you bear the imprint of the heavens. God did not bestow His image upon you so you could dwell in insecurity. He did not create you with authority so you could crawl through existence begging for crumbs. He made you to reveal, to be a walking, breathing testament that there is a creator behind the chaos. But let us be candid. Most individuals are not reflecting God. They are reflecting agony, trauma, bitterness, and shame. They have been sculpted more by what fractured them than by the one who created them. And perhaps that has been your narrative. Perhaps life has made you feel like an aberration. Maybe voices have labeled you worthless, excessive, or damaged beyond repair. Perhaps you have accepted the falsehoods and attempted to conceal yourself behind filters, masks, and feigned bravado. But heed my words. God never erased His image from you. Transgression may have obscured the looking glass, yet the reflection remains salvageable. That is why Jesus arrived, not merely to rescue you, but to reshape you, to restore what was forfeited, to renew the image that sin sought to annihilate. You are not a random assemblage of flesh and bone. You are a sacred reflection of the God who forged stars and clove the seas. You do not need to locate your worth. You need to recall its origin. It is not found in your performance. It is not found in your history. It is not found in your acclaim. It is found in your design. When you gaze into the mirror, cease asking, "Do I appear adequate?" Commence asking, "Am I reflecting the one who fashioned me?" Because that is what you were created for, not perfection, but reflection. Therefore, cease chasing counterfeit identities. Cease attempting to become what God never called you to be, and begin reflecting the glory you were born to bear. Number 3, destined to reign alongside Christ. Number 3, you were created to reign with Christ. You were not merely created to exist, you were created to govern. But pause. Do not misconstrue this truth. This is not regarding ego trips or arrogance. This is regarding a partnership with the celestial. Revelation 5:10 states, "You have made them to be a kingdom and priests to serve our God, and they will reign on the earth." Did you grasp that? Not merely survive, not merely suffer, but reign. From the very Genesis, God did not simply deposit Adam in the garden. He granted him dominion, authority, responsibility, a role to enact in ruling over what God had made. Why? Because God does not create spectators. He creates co-laborers. You were born to walk in authority, not in hubris, but in alignment. You were born to crush the serpent's skull, not to dance with it, to advance the kingdom of God, not merely to hide in a pew awaiting the afterlife. But here lies the problem. Most believers live like paupers when they were called to live like sons and daughters of the King. We offer impotent prayers. We tiptoe through spiritual warfare. We live terrified, defeated, overwhelmed. Even though Jesus already secured the victory and handed us the keys, he declared in Luke 10:19, "I have given you authority over all the power of the enemy." Not just to pastors, not just to prophets stow you, but authority only functions when you believe in it, and many do not. Why? Because religion taught them to shrink back, because trauma taught them to fear, because sin taught them to settle. But God is summoning you to a higher plane. You were not made to be ruled by your emotions. You were not made to be crushed by the adversary. You were not made to be a passive Christian awaiting rescue. You were made to reign with Christ, not in the distant by and by, but now today in your family, in your thoughts, in your territory. And this reign does not resemble control. It resembles surrender. It resembles humility backed by sovereign authority. It resembles walking in the Spirit, not the flesh. So, let me ask you, are you living like someone possessing spiritual authority? Or are you still living like a slave when God has already torn asunder your chains? You were created for dominion, to walk in boldness, to declare truth, to tear down strongholds, to shift atmospheres with your very presence. You were not made to hide. You were made to rule with Christ. Now rise up. It is time to assume your station. Number 4, constructed to harbor his presence. Number 4, you were created to carry his presence. God never desired to merely visit you. He created you to carry him. Let that penetrate your understanding for a moment. The same God who roared from the peaks of Sinai, the same God who filled the temple with fire and smoke, the same God who raised Jesus from the abyss of death, wants to reside within you. You were not created to pursue God from a distance. You were designed to be his dwelling place. 1 Corinthians 6:19 states it plainly. Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? That is not a metaphor. That is not symbolic. That is reality. God does not merely walk beside you. He dwells in you. You are the temple now. But let me ask you, are you treating your life like a sanctuary or a refuse bin? We speak of feeling distant from God, but the truth is, he has not moved. We have simply filled the temple with excessive noise, excessive sin, excessive self. God's presence does not thrive in chaos. It dwells in consecration. Not perfection, but surrender. Not being flawless, but being available. See, carrying his presence implies living with the awareness that he is in the room because the room is you. It means your decisions matter, your habits matter, your purity matters, your worship matters. You were not created to merely visit God on Sundays. You were made to host him daily. That alters everything. You do not have to beg God to manifest in your situation. He is already there. You do not have to request his presence as if it were a parcel that might arrive late. You simply need to remove the clutter that is clouding his voice. And when you begin to live like a carrier of God's presence, you walk differently. Fear does not grip you the same way. Sin does not tempt you the same way. The devil does not attack you the same way. Why? Because you are not walking in your own strength. You are walking with the fire of heaven blazing inside of you. So cease living like God is far away. He is not just with you, he is in you. You were created to carry him, not just in your mind, not just in your words, but in your body, in your spirit, in your everyday existence. You are not hollow. You are not solitary. You are not abandoned. You are a living sanctuary. So cleanse the temple, guard the flame, and never forget whom you carry. Number 5, ordained to unleash his glory on earth. Number 5, you were created to release his glory on earth. Let me shake your perspective slightly. You were not created merely to escape this world. You were created to infiltrate it with heaven. Too many Christians live as though their only objective is to hold on until Jesus returns. Hide in a corner. Remain clean. Do not err. Just survive. But that is not your assignment. Jesus did not say, "Pray that I rescue you soon." He said, "Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." That means you are not here to flee from the darkness. You are here to ignite it with light. God did not place His Spirit in you so you could sit quietly and await the rapture. He placed His Spirit in you so you could bring transformation to the world around you. You are His ambassador. You are His representative. You are heaven's strategy for earth. Wherever you go, the kingdom goes. That occupation you loathe it is your assignment. That family that does not comprehend you, that is your field. That neighborhood filled with compromise, that is your battleground. You were not made to blend in. You were made to break through. You do not just carry His presence. You release His glory. You speak life into dead places. You call truth into twisted lies. You bring peace where there is chaos. You demonstrate power where there is weakness. And do not think you must be a preacher to do it. You can be a janitor or a CEO, a student or a single mother. Your title does not matter. Your identity is what carries the glory. And glory is not merely a cloud or a sensation during worship. Glory is the visible manifestation of God's nature. And guess what? That is what you were made for. Isaiah 61 commands, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." Not your neighbor, not just your pastor, you. God created you to shine, not for your own fame, but to reflect His. So stop waiting for permission. Stop asking for a stage. You do not need a spotlight to release His glory. You just need obedience. Speak boldly, live differently, show love fiercely, pray dangerously, because the world does not need more entertainment. It needs a generation of believers who know they were created to bring heaven down. You are not a mistake. You are not in the wrong location. You are a living, breathing answer to someone's cry. So rise up, release what is inside you, and never forget, you were created to release His glory on earth, not later, but now. Number 6, created to be cherished, not merely utilized. Number 6, you were created to be loved, not just used. Let me state something that might dismantle your theological framework. God did not create you to use you. He created you to love you. Yes, He possesses a purpose for your life. Yes, He has an assignment for your hands. But before the mission, before the ministry, before the miracles, there was love. That is the foundation. You were not made to be a cog in God's celestial machinery. You were not born to merely labor, serve, strive, and collapse. You were created to be loved by your Father. But somewhere along the line, we have twisted this truth. We started believing that our worth is tied to our usefulness. If I serve enough, perhaps He will bless me. If I worship louder, perhaps He will notice me. If I do more, perhaps I will finally be adequate. Let me be unequivocal. God's love for you is not based on what you do. It is based on who He is. 1 John 4-8 states, God is love. Not God has love. He is love. It is not what He does. It is who He is. And that love is your origin story. Before you sang one song, preached one sermon, or helped one person, He loved you. And even if you never performed a single useful act again, He would still love you. That truth changes everything. Because too many of us are exhausted, burned out, spiritually parched. Not because we do not believe in God's power, but because we do not believe in God's delight. We think God tolerates us. We think He is disappointed in us. We think we are merely tools in His hands. But you are not a tool. You are a treasure. Zephaniah 3:17 says, God rejoices over you with singing. When was the last time you visualized God singing over you? Not shaking His head, not listing your failures, but smiling, singing, rejoicing. That is the kind of love you were created for. Yes, He will use you to change the world. But first, He wants you to sit with Him. Before Peter preached at Pentecost, Jesus restored him over a meal. Before Paul wrote his epistles, Jesus blinded him with love. Before you change others, let God change you. Let Him love you. Let Him heal what you conceal. Let Him delight in you, not for what you execute, but for who you are. Because you were not created to perform, you were created to be pursued. And God is not chasing what you can produce. He is chasing your heart. Let Him have it. Number 7, created to alter eternity. Number 7. You were created to change eternity. You were not created to merely survive through life. You were created to leave a mark on the everlasting. Let that resonate. Your life echoes beyond time. You were born into a world at war. Light against darkness, truth against lies, heaven against hell. And you were not dropped here randomly. You were assigned. Assigned to this era, this generation, this battle. That means your choices matter more than you comprehend. Every act of obedience, every word of truth, every prayer, every sacrifice, every surrendered moment, it sends shockwaves into eternity. You were created to shift the eternal destinies of others. Think about that. The people surrounding you, your family, your co-workers, your neighbor, some of them are careening toward destruction. And God placed you in their path, not to judge, not to condemn, but to shine, to warn, to invite. You do not need a microphone to change eternity. You just need courage. You just need to say yes, because eternity is not changed through grand gestures. It is changed through obedient hearts. Noah did not save the world with a sermon. He simply constructed an ark. Esther did not have a title. She simply said, "If I perish, I perish." The woman with the alabaster jar did not write a book. She simply poured her love upon Jesus, and Jesus declared her story would be told forever. Eternity remembers surrender, and do not believe the lie that your life is too insignificant to matter. If you only knew what your yes could unlock, what your obedience could birth, what your simple faith could unleash, you would stop underestimating your impact. Heaven does not measure your influence by followers. It measures it by faithfulness. So, let me ask you, are you living for what is temporary, or are you living for what lasts forever? You were created to do more than pay bills, build comfort, and die quietly. You were created to disrupt hell, to plunder darkness, to snatch souls from the fire. Your story is not just your story. It is someone else's rescue mission. So live with eternity in mind. Speak with urgency. Love with boldness. Serve with joy. Because one day, you will stand before God. And the only thing that will matter is what you did that echoes forever. You were created to change eternity. Do not squander that opportunity. Number 8. Created to know Him deeply and herald Him boldly. Number 8. You were created to know Him deeply and make Him known boldly. Let us strike at the very heart of the matter. You were created to know God, not merely to know about Him, not merely to believe. He exists, but to know Him personally, intimately, deeply. The purpose of your life is not a platform, not a paycheck, not applause. It is Him. Paul, one of the greatest apostles who ever lived, wrote in Philippians 3:10, that I may know Him. That was his heartbeat, his obsession, his mission, and it should be yours too. You were not created to live at a distance from God, watching Him work in other people's lives, hoping He remembers your name. You were created for communion, daily closeness, to walk with Him, to hear His voice, to feel His heart, to be transformed by His presence. But here is the reality. So many believers settle for surface-level faith. They treat God like a mere garnish instead of the main feast. They run to Him in crisis but forget Him in comfort. They admire Him but do not truly know Him. Why? Because knowing God costs something. It costs your pride. It costs your schedule. It costs your sin. You cannot know Him and cling to idols. You cannot know Him and ignore His word. You cannot know Him and stay where it is comfortable. But when you go deeper, when you give Him your whole heart, everything changes. Knowing God is not tedious. It is the most dangerous, thrilling, life-altering journey you will ever take. It does not just change your eternity, it changes your today. And here is the second part of your calling, to make Him known. This world is drowning in opinions, noise, and lies, and God chose you to be His messenger. You are not just saved for yourself. You are saved to bring others home. Your story, it is a weapon. Your scars, they are a testimony. Your voice, it is not too small. It is exactly what someone else needs. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to be available. So talk about Him. Share your faith. Speak truth in love. Be bold in a world that wants you silent, because if you truly know him, you will not be able to keep him to yourself. You were created to know God deeply and to make him known boldly. That is your greatest calling. That is the reason you are still breathing. Do not waste it. Conclusion. Conclusion. The reason is larger than you, but it includes you. So now you know. You were not created by accident. You were not placed on this earth to drift aimlessly, to fade into obscurity, or to figure it out in isolation. You were handcrafted by the God of the universe on purpose, for a purpose. You were created to walk in relationship, not religion, to reflect his image, not the world's, to reign with him, not just survive life, to carry his presence, not live empty, to release his glory, not hide in fear, to be loved, not just used, to change eternity, not just pass time, to know him deeply and make him known boldly. This is your divine blueprint. It is not reserved for the elite, the holy, or the famous. It is for you, right here, right now. But listen closely. You do not step into this purpose by accident. You step into it by surrender. God is not asking you to be perfect. He is asking you to be willing. Willing to say, God, I give you my life, not just my Sundays. Use me, not for success, but for significance. Let my life matter, not just in this world, but for eternity. You do not have to have it all together. You do not have to be strong, famous, or fearless. You just have to say, yes, that is it. Because the real reason God created you wasn't just to fill space, but to carry glory. Wasn't just to consume blessings, but to become a blessing. Wasn't just to exist, but to walk in destiny. You matter to God. Your life is part of his story. Your purpose is real. Your calling is holy. And your time is now. Do not waste another second wondering if your life has meaning. It does. Do not spend another day living small when God called you to live eternal. This is your moment to step into the truth that has been waiting for you. You were created by God, for God, and nothing else will ever satisfy. So rise up, embrace your calling, and walk in the reason you were created. Would you like me to summarize these 8 points into a quick, scannable list for you to save?